Like it's sounding like Roy B. Like this lady has her children on a platform with those things on the ears. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Hey
I
Simon, can I ask you a question? Why are you bringing up her children? What does that have to do with anything right now? Do you
I
feel
was
that that's
I,
respectful or needed?
I
You
was
br-
about to try you. So
My alleged severe mental illness, because there's no mistaking the fact that several different people did shows laughing about me allegedly being manic and having severe mental illness. And the person who made that comment talking about you told her not to say nothing. Do she think it's funny when people make fun of her son's autism? Why would it be funny and okay to make fun of my alleged mental illness, especially if you alleging that I suddenly became severely mentally ill?
the medicine is causing local rash or itching. Prescription request for new medication, not a refill. Wants to use complementary or alternative medication. Now I get it. Medications can be expensive. And a lot of these medications require prior authorizations to be sent by your doctor to the pharmacy. Now, on the notes that she had mentioned, and I'm only saying this because, hey, Venus, hey, Boo, I'm only talking to this because she put it out here. Otherwise, I would never have this, so I wouldn't be able to speculate. But let's talk about nursing notes for a moment, shall we? In these nursing notes, what we see is her attestation of what her signs and symptoms are. Veterans identity verified. Veteran states that she missed. Veteran states. This is not anything that has been tested. This is not anything that has been proven. This is what she states. She stated that she missed 2 days of her medication. This could be a lie. Okay? Veteran complains of fatigue, but no complaint of pain. But later on, she complains about irritation, itchiness from the medication. See, this is the initial conversation when the person first called in. She gives a disposition of self-care. She asks if she should double the dosage. She was instructed to go to the ER, just as someone else had told her to do if the symptoms worsened. The writer answered all of the veterans' questions. So this is not going to the doctor. This was a triage conversation over the phone. So if this is meant to be proof, not to a thinking person.
And that's why I said this shit about Triggs. None of that's true. Anybody with critical thinking skills could walk the dogs on why that doesn't exactly make sense. It's a convenient narrative, but it doesn't actually make sense. No matter how many different random ass words you look up, it doesn't actually make sense. But if I said the things I said about Triggs, and I said that Triggs told a lie on Nikki about T Pre, and if somehow that meant I was talking about T Pre, and I did that because I was severely mentally ill, it probably wouldn't be appropriate for my friend to make fun of me for that. And to sit back and create a scenario where multiple different people in the sector are calling me manic, something I told you I was worried about in private. Like, it doesn't exactly make sense that you didn't want to participate in criticizing Triggs for the filthy, evil things he did to hurt people in the sector.
If y'all feel that this is a threatening message from me, that Carrie felt threatened from what I said to her. Put a 2 in the chat if it sounds like what I'm saying is pretty reasonable and she's aware of how reasonable it is. I mean, y'all let me know. We'll go ahead and go from there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead now. Hold on one second.
All right, let me know if you guys can hear me, because I'm going to now play that red part that you guys see. It's about 6 minutes and 13 seconds long. So let's go ahead and play it. Listen, I know you like to use the words emotional because you feel like somehow that's really going to make people emotional, right? At the end of the day, Carrie, I'm entitled to respond to you the way that I want to, okay? Can y'all hear that? I don't have to sit up and take your shit, okay? I just don't have to do that. I sat there long enough and I tried to tell you why it bothered me. You dismissed why it bothered me. And you wanted me to explain to you, like I'm your 5-year-old student, why a situation bothered me. When, child, I am a 47-year-old grandmother. I don't have to explain myself to you or to anybody. But I gave you the courtesy of telling you why I felt some kind of way about that. And one of the reasons why I just simply don't want to engage in this conversation. And instead of you just taking that into consideration and understanding that other people have rights as well, and that it's not just always about you, and it's not always about fulfilling your emotions at the time and fulfilling your needs at the moment, right? You know, sometimes you have to step out of yourself and look at the bigger picture and understand that everything is not about Carrie Ann, right? For some reason you had the inability to do that. And you wanted to turn around and tell me that somehow I'm taking some rights away from you by simply asking you not to bring me up when you want to argue back and forth about at tricks, okay? I have that right. I'm not sure why you think I don't. I'm not sure why somehow that infringes on your rights when, you know, I don't want you to speak of me, okay? At least publicly, right? If you want to say something to me, you know, I can deal with that. But for you to keep bringing it up publicly, I think it's just disrespectful, and I think it's just out of pocket. And I've asked you kindly not to. And instead of you just taking that into perspective, you would rather gaslight me into somehow believing that I'm infringing on you, or somehow I am taking something away from you. I am selfishly, like the word you're trying to use here, you know, telling you what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do. You know, you need to take a break. Okay?
But somehow you perfectly okay with criticizing me for having alleged severe mental illness, because one of those is sinful and corrupt, and one of those would just be a medical condition deserving of compassion. Why would it be okay to make fun of your friend until yesterday having alleged mental illness, severe mental illness, but not okay to make fun of somebody for having autism? And again, I recognize that the critical thinking skills are not top notch.
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
Everybody, hello everybody, good afternoon, salam, and good evening to you. Now, y'all Y'all saw the intro, right? Y'all saw the intro. Let me put you on some background music on. Okay, let me put you on some background music on because we about to chit chat. We about to talk it up. Here we are. Oh, what do I want to do? I think I'm gonna do this one. No, I think I'm gonna do this one. Keep it classy. Let me turn it up a little bit. Classy. Yeah. I like a little, you know what I'm saying? Like a little classical music when I educate. Please double tap the screen and share it out. Thank you, baby, for sending everyone over here. Okay. Shout out to all of my moderators, best mod squad in the land. Okay. Shout out to the members. Appreciate you. Now, as you saw from the intro, adults on social media that are African American in nature have a little bit of problems, especially when it comes down to defining what is a mental illness and what is autism. A Black man who probably didn't have the benefit of a loving mother, of a loving father, who was probably relegated to being in one room in his house, said, well, Robbie has her children on her platform with those things on their ears. The word is headphones. And my God, today, most kids have headphones. Heck, most podcasters have headphones. See, my baby sees me with headphones and he likes his headphones. He has quite the headphone collection. He does. Also, he has autism. And headphones actually help him with his disorder, his spectrum disorder, to embrace the world. But in the African American community, anything that's wrong with anybody, honey, it has to be a mental illness. And we know Black people don't like to go to therapy, right? Because the Black community has been taught that seeking mental help is an issue. Now, the excruciating long clip of the young woman that was trying to make excuses and liken her mental health issues, her manic crash out that she is currently participating in, which she is refusing to go to the emergency for, which she is refusing to seek mental help for, which everyone has been making a call to help, requesting wellness checks, encouraging her to go to the emergency room, to take a break, to take her medication, to get off of social media. Well, anybody that's decent anyway, because there's a whole bunch of trolls on her channel that are encouraging her to keep up the malarkey and the foolishness because she's their entertainment and she's really become troll food, okay? You guys can go check out the preceding videos of this, which is Mania, the Devil Within, and Delusions, Manipulators, and the Dramatics, in which we have broken things down. But I felt it, to start this conversation, it was good to have a visual and an auditory representation of the level of mania and mental disconnect that is happening with this said individual. Now, first and foremost, autism is not classified as a mental illness. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder, according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM-5. Autism spectrum disorder is characterized by a persistent challenge in social communication and interaction, along with restricted or repetitive behaviors, interests, or activities. These traits are present from early childhood and are rooted in differences in brain development, not psychological conditions that arise later on in life, like mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety, or bipolar disorder. Now, when it comes down to autism spectrum disorder, there is the ability for a co-occurring diagnosis, right? Like somebody that has autism spectrum disorder can also have a mental illness, but autism spectrum disorder in and of itself is not a mental disorder. So much so, it's become such a topic in global media, right? That a woman named Salisbury spoke at a Senate subcommittee because insurance company decided to classify autism as a mental health disorder so that they could get more funding from doctors. But don't take my word for it. We're going to sit here and we're going to listen to what she said and how it's about autism and how autism is not a mental health disorder. Thank you. Appreciate you. We're going to listen to what she said about the classification according to the insurance company. Let's go.
I won't bore our appropriations committee by reading the various citations that I brought up that says that the condition I have of being on the autism spectrum is not in fact a mental illness. But I will say that it is incredibly dangerous to perpetuate this kind of misinformation. This is the kind of misinformation that, when spread around, contributes to parents feeding their children bleach or other concoctions that they found on the internet, recipes to cure their children of their illness, of their sickness, as you might describe it. Since you believe it is a mental illness, that implies it can be cured, perhaps with a pill or a concoction that they find on some parenting blog. This is dangerous disinformation to be spread. I understand what you're saying when you want to provide mental health care benefits and that you want people to be able to access autism services, but this is a terrifying thing for someone who is on the autism spectrum, such as myself, who has been diagnosed formally. It is a terrifying thing to see that children who have autism are being described as mentally ill by their government. Thank you.
Now, that's just our opening. That's just our opening, because what the woman said is true. There is cures for people with autism that involve them quite literally drinking bleach. However, drinking bleach can have a caustic effect on the esophagus and actually lead to mortality and morbidity. Parents that are going by the rhetoric that people like the individual in the aforementioned clip spew, like the dude in the aforementioned clip spew that autism is a mental illness, have actually been causing severe harm to babies, toddlers, young children, adolescents, teenagers, young adults, and adults by believing that they can find a cure. There is no cure for autism. It is a disorder. The only thing that you can do with autism is manage the symptoms that cause stemming episodes, that cause autistic meltdowns, so that the individual that has autism has the best quality of life, opposed to mental health disorders. If you have a mental health disorder, I can just give you a magic pill, little lithium, a glass of water, and you're good to go. A little Depakote and a glass of orange juice, and you're okay. Risperidol, night-night, little Thorazine shot in the butt, and you're good to go. You're right as rain. That is not how that works with autism. But the justification theorem to try to say, well, it's okay to make fun of kids with autism, when in all actuality, nobody made fun of this individual. This individual was trying to postulate and grandstand because due to their they put their medical receipts out here. Due to their manic episode, because they stopped taking doses of their medication, one of which was actually listed in the extensive medical history that they decided to show on social media. When you miss one dose of that medication in particular, just one, you crash out and you start exhibiting signs and symptoms of manic episodes. 2 doses and it's over, because the levels in your blood cerumen dropped significantly. I didn't ask this person to share their medical results. I didn't ask them to share their medical history. No one did. Literally no one did. They decided that they wanted to share their medical information. Excuse us all for having compassion that you're not taking medication and you're also refusing to go get medical care. It's a travesty, really, especially when there are severe disparities social disparities of health, especially in the African American community, particularly pertaining to African American women, particularly pertaining to African American women when it comes to mental health. Maybe we should have just let her perish. Because when you're doing things like showing your whole medical history, you clearly are having a cry for help. The issue is she wanted someone to actually look that closely, to pay that attention. Because, oh yeah, that's a good one. Hold on, y'all. There is no way in God's green earth, there ain't no way in the Hades that I am ever going to be out here down bad. Let me look at this one. We can look at this one. We don't need to look at this one. There is no way in the world that I am going to be out here showing my charts. You're telling the world that you are having mental issues and showing the my chart for your progress reports. This was done in a live video, streamed live. That's not making fun of you. That's saying there is a problem that is happening. Because why? You're not taking your lithium. Now, I pulled up what happens when you miss a dose or two of lithium. That is not making fun of you. That is telling the truth. And again, that was from another live stream. And just so that we are all in alignment. You shared this in that same live stream, as well as your test results for trichomonas, vaginalis, syphilis, HIV, lithium, and some more, and some more, and some more. But I mean, let's get into it. Missing, let me zoom in so y'all can read clearly. I don't got time today. Missing 2 doses of lithium can increase the risk of a relapse of mood symptoms and may cause mild withdrawal effects because lithium has a narrow therapeutic range. It is important to take it consistently to maintain stable blood levels. Forgetting 2 doses can lower your blood concentration, potentially affecting its mood stabilizing effects. Fatigue and general malaise, heightened anxiety or irritability, worsening of tremors if you experience them. A more significant danger of missing doses is a relapse of the condition being treated, such as bipolar disorder. Abruptly stopping lithium, even for a short time, can cause a rebound phenomenon. This can lead to a rapid return of symptoms, particularly a manic or hypomanic episode. Make fun of you for what? It's really not funny. But we're going to now look at the difference again and why autism is a spectrum disorder as opposed to a mental health issue.
where there are delays in your brain development beginning in childhood. This causes difficulties with social interaction, communication, and repetitive behaviors. Often people with autism spectrum will have impaired sensory processing, so they may be hyper or hyposensitive to sounds and textures. It's a spectrum illness because the degree to which a person is impaired ranges from low functioning to high functioning. A low functioning person generally is not able to work and may not even be able to take care of themselves and need a lot of assistance. Whereas a high functioning person, which used to be called Asperger's syndrome, may be able to live independently and do well. They still have trouble, though, with social interactions because of the difficulties in the way that they relate to people. Autism spectrum person has a desire for relationships, but their non-typical way of interacting with people makes it hard for them to forge relationships. Autism spectrum disorder is a brain development disorder where there are delays in your
Autism spectrum disorder is a brain development disorder. It's not a mental illness. But let's see what this other doctor got to say about it. Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure the volume is on.
Have literally a different structure in their brain. This naturally leads to autistic people, perceiving the world in a completely different way, the way they see the world. I mean, there was an interesting study done, albeit on, a small number of participants, and they could also track their eye movements as well. And they would show hotspots where, a neurotypical person would, focus their attention on the face of a person, but the autistic person would focus just on the middle of the image, not on the actual face. And they showed this repeated the same pattern on different images. So we see actually in terms of their sensory perception and stimuli, they've got a completely neurologically altered way. And people who are
people that are neurodivergent are just simply wired to experience more. But the fact that people that have mental illness choose to bring children into a conversation because they want the same attention and affection as children is insane. It's insane. But you know what? Let's listen to an autistic person speak to the efficacy of them being told that they have a mental illness when they don't.
This week we've successfully launched the Know Your Normal campaign, and that is looking to reclaim the label normal as a way to describe ourselves in our everyday behavior and likes and dislikes and what we do as a way that might not be necessarily comparable to someone else. So, so people are always, especially on the autistic spectrum, are described as peculiar or weird, or some terms that are much more offensive and a bit more explicit sometimes. So that's the ethos of the campaign, why we are using the word normal. So everyone's normal is individual and particular to them, but also looking at how that autistic behavior is not necessarily the same as a mental health issue. So whether it might be depression, anxiety, or other existing conditions upon that spectrum of varying mental health challenges that people face, it's not part of autism, so to speak. There is a correlation that more people who are autistic will develop a mental health condition. There is research to evidence that people are much more vulnerable in this respect, but the correlation is not necessarily the same as a conflation of that mental health and autism are by and part the same thing, that you can develop comorbidity within mental health conditions, but some people are in the mindset that and especially the media as well, some of the mainstream media describe, autism, those with who are autistic as suffering or feeling or being quite unusual in some ways. So using quite derogatory terms and that don't represent us so much. A lot of these columns and articles and reports are written by people who are neurotypical, and by neurotypical that means people who aren't autistic or who have a certain neurological condition. So that's very much the priority of the campaign, and why so many young people decided it was so important for us to try and address this challenge.
Young people all over the world are addressing the challenge of adults harassing them.
Have you ever wondered how the different levels of
that I don't do? I don't do junkies. I don't do alcoholics. I don't do PDF files, and I don't do drama addicts. This young woman right here, the person that we are speaking on, talked about her child's illness as well. So at what point do we as a society stop coddling these people that make the decision willfully to not take their medication, that make the decision willfully to participate in certain behaviors? If you want to coddle those people, fine, do it. I don't coddle my autistic child, and my autistic child has a disorder. And not coddling him has caused him to have phenomenal gains. Track it, block it. We live in a world, in a society where everybody wants everything to be fluffy and full of sparkles and glitter, and everybody's a snowflake. No. Take the red pill and step into the real world. This person has not only attacked my child for having autism, Miss T-Pre's child for having a disorder, she also attacked another person's child in the UK. Running around just attacking people and creating narratives. And there are people that are affording her the opportunity to push these narratives. And she is inciting people that do not have the same diagnosis or refusal to take medication that she has to do the same. No, that's not okay. I'm calling it out. And whoever has a problem with it, that sounds like a personal problem to me. Because when this woman is minding her business, and then people are talking about her children, talking underneath her clothes, simply because she said to someone, hey, I no longer want to engage. I no longer want to be bothered. She reserves the right not to be harassed and cyberbullied online. When you're talking about an 8-year-old child that has autism, he deserves the right not to be harassed and cyberbullied because he wears headphones. What's next? People are going to harass and cyberbully him because he wears glasses? All because of the choices that they make with their life? Hell no. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. And I'm not just an advocate for children with autism. I am an advocate for children with special needs, period. I don't go for it. It's just because you want to sit there and pretend to be doing whatever, because if you let this person tell it, she's not manic. Rewind the live to the beginning. She says her alleged mania, her alleged disorder, her alleged this and her alleged that. So according to her, she doesn't have anything wrong with her, and everybody's just making it up. So at some point, there needs to be a visible, viable record of behavior. And sorry, not sorry. Children are not your whipping post. But it's a whole bunch of adults Hey, Miss Jill, it is a whole bunch of adults. Let me switch this screen real quick. Give me one moment. Y'all see me good? Okay. It is a whole bunch of adults on social media that were the victim of child abuse, that were mistreated, maligned. And they are living out their inner trauma in their childhood. And when they get into situations online on social media, they never keep it on the person. They never keep it on the topic. They go to children. They go to family members that are not involved in social media at all. They go to race. They go to religion. They go to whatever it is that they want to go to. And unfortunately, I'm not a person that believes in emotion. I'm a person that believes in facts and the truth. So either, per her words, you're of a sober mind and you are doing these attacks cruelly and full of duplicity, or you need to be committed to a mental health asylum. Choice. Either you really have a mental illness and you need to take medication, or you're faking a mental illness and trying to defraud the United States government to get disability benefits from the Navy. Catch. Clock it. Clock it. This goes deeper. There are plenty of people that pretend to have mental illnesses to defraud the government so that they could get a check, so they could sit at home and do a whole bunch of nothing, including not even taking a bath. But still in all, autism is not a mental illness. So be a woman and put your big girl panties on. If you want to make fun of my son, just say you want to make fun of my son. If you want to make fun of T-Pre's son, just say you want to make fun of T-Pre's son. If you want to make fun of Divine Seven's child, just say you want to make fun of Divine Seven's child. Because at no point did anyone actually make fun of you. See how this works, Jay? When we look at the glaring obviousness of the truth, you can only surmise one outcome, critically thinking and all. Hey, Kojak. And again, it is a consistent Well, is it, Terrence? Because that person doesn't feel it is. And I'm going to drop the link. Actually, I'm going to put the link on my community tab because when you drop it on the vertical, it never works. So I'm going to put it on my community tab. And anybody that wants to have the conversation is more than willing to come up and have the conversation, including the people that are being affected by this transient. It's been. Yes, Kojak. Yes. My son loves colors. He does. Loves all the colors. All the busy stuff and everything else. Reads very well, does math very well, writes well, does everything that he's supposed to do. And T-Free, I'm sending you the link via email if you would like to come up and speak to this too, because you know your child was also harassed. What's it? Oh, That's right, Rocky. Yes, honey, buildings, dinosaurs, and all of that. Hey, Truth. Hey, J Dunn. And again, y'all be wanting to protect these people. This person put their own information out there, saying that they were going to pay someone $8,000 to do a DNA test on their children. That is not a person that deserves anybody's type of protection. Not in my assessment. Thank you, Jay Dunn. What are we talking about? That is a horrible person, a monster. Hey, LGC. And I'm frankly, I am at a point where it's just purely ridiculous. Let me welcome T Pre to the stage. Hello, beautiful. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Finding you. Girl.
I'm chilling. I'm actually about to start traveling in a little bit, so I figured I'd come up and bust it up for a second.
Thank you. I'm not staying long. We gotta wait to go to, honey. We gotta wait to go to. But
Yes.
What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I was gonna say, what are your thoughts when you hear people trying to defend someone that has been just trying to smear your reputation, attack you, attack your children, attack your family and your parenting?
I haven't really so I understand she went live today. I didn't see it. And then also I haven't really seen a lot of people really defending her in this. Only thing I've seen is trolls defending her. Like, I really haven't seen anybody, really honestly defending this at all. But definitely trolls, like, trying to egg her on, but that's all I've seen. So, I mean, you've seen something else? Because I didn't watch it today.
Oh, no, like, I sometimes scroll through, but not really. Like I said, I meant that. Like, her... Right, it shouldn't be no one. Facts. Her crashing out, sharing the medical records, like that was really excessive and extreme. But then to double down and say that you shared mental information about her when she shared her medical records on her own live stream is mind-boggling to me.
That's what I'm saying. It's like she's trying to blame me for everything she's telling the sector. And I'm not telling the sector anything. It's so weird. It's so, like, listen, y'all can see for yourself, I did not lie. There is something severely wrong with this chick. And I mean, I noticed it. I really, really noticed it like the day before when she asked me about, making sure she takes her meds and that she hasn't been taking her medication and all that stuff. I knew then, you know what I mean? Like, I knew something was severely wrong with her. And it was more than just, it's really just the fact that I felt like it was a medical emergency. You know what I mean? Like, her not taking her medication means that she's in a state of emergency, and she's in that state. And there's nothing you can really do about it with an adult, as long as they're not actually harming themselves, or they're not saying that they're going to physically harm somebody or harm themselves. There really isn't anything you can really do about it.
Right.
It's an emergency.
Well, the thing is, Miss Jill, this person is an atheist and this person has no children. Hey, Seven Boo. But there actually was a threat. There was a threat made against P.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What was the threat?
Oh, well, why would I be afraid of him? I can kick his ASS and I'll go down to that corner store, and if he pulls a pew, then I'll just take it from him. And now,
oh yeah, I did hear that. I didn't take that as a threat because he's in, they're like thousands of miles away from each other.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
you know what I mean?
But it's still a threat. It's still a threat. It's the desire, because when you go to the hospital and they ask you those mental health qualifying questions, they say, do you want to hurt yourself or others? They don't ask you the location.
That's true. That's true. Because if it was a location, people will drive thousands of miles away to do some shit to people. So
exactly. I mean, Terrence, I can understand your perspective, right? You're an atheist. It seems like you're more as Christian as you would just walk away. But people that don't believe in God can't really speak to Christianity at all. Whoever told you that Christians were told to walk away because Jesus said, turn the other cheek? Did you forget about the tearing down of the walls of Jericho? Did you forget about the obliteration of Sodom and Gomorrah? Did you forget about the whole deletion of the Egyptian army after Moses parted the Red Sea? Did you forget about all of the chaos and bedlam that is coming in the tribulation days? There is a lot of war in the Bible, but people that don't believe in God and don't believe in the Bible will say, well, as a Christian, you're supposed to go away. Do you walk away? Do you know the 99 attributes of God? Like a lot of them are really anger, wrath, and war, and we are created in his image. Did you forget about the archangel Michael, Gabriel? I wait. Touch not my anointed is what God said. And God also said, what you've done to the least of men, that you have done to me. And in all actuality, telling people the truth is not doing anything to them. An eye for an eye, amen. So we're going to stop. It's okay if you don't believe. It's okay if you don't believe, because you're not using that as a qualifier. So I can respect that. Don't use the Bible as a qualifier to somebody that can tell you what the Bible actually say. But in regards to you, I'm going to put in the bag, and I don't even know if this is true. So I'm definitely not saying it out loud. I probably spelled it wrong, but that's okay. She said that is what your child has, and I did spell that wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Do you see the back chat? You're on mute, T-Pre.
no, he doesn't have that. No.
Okay.
It was so it was something similar to what she has, actually. It's not that though. But oftentimes some symptoms, he had the battery testing done as well. That's how I know what that USD4 is, right? Because it checks for everything. It checks for a lot of stuff. Okay. And he had some other qualitative battery testing done to make sure that, number one, he didn't have that. And then also, that he had some other things. But it turns out he did have some issues where some of these symptoms will kind of show up in different situations. You see what I'm saying? Like different disorders. It doesn't have to be this, though. But she has very black and white thinking. And so if, you have this symptom, then this means this, or, you know what I mean? Or whatever that case may be.
Right.
And so at first he had a diagnosis of such, but that doctor never did, they never did any battery testing on him. They were just going off of a couple of symptoms he was talking about.
So they were just speculating.
Yes. But they ended up doing they did a full battery test on it. It took them a long time. It wasn't a long time, but it was several hours. He was at the office that day. And they did a lot. It was a whole lot. And then they did, and it came back that he didn't have that. Thank God. And it was multiple doctors. It was multiple doctors that came to the same conclusion.
Exactly. But see, this is the thing. So when people are like, oh, be forgiving to her. No.
Yeah.
No. Because again.
And she knows that too. What I just told you, she actually knows that story because she tells me how much of an inspiration like my son is because of how well he's doing and how, he's living on his own. He's got, his own place. And everything, and he actually does what he's supposed to do, so
right.
I don't know, but she knows that that's not the case. So,
But this is the thing. So it's okay for her to run around and spread lies on people's children and harass and meringue people and make accusations. And you should just be like, oh no, poor baby. Nah. People do that. And she still continues to harass. So that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep a record. Just like when she lied and said that T Pre had threatened her.
mm-hmm.
And we've literally watched and read all the text messages, listened to the voice note, which you guys will hear when you run it back on the replay. T Pre was very calm. You were very kind to her in that moment.
Mm-hmm. I had no reason not to. Like, I'm not upset. She's the one all manic and all out of pocket and tripping and stuff. I don't really care. Like, girl, calm down. She act like we was in a relationship or something, or like we was like. She's saying I'm acting like the single white female. Like, girl, what is wrong with you? I don't even like women's. Okay, like, what is going on right now?
You are so silly.
Girl.
It's a mess. Okay, Sir Dre Duck says, with respect to our host, if there is a God, why would we have autism and mental health and all other suffering people go through? And if you believe and it brings you comfort, then I'm cool with it. Okay, so here's the thing. Just because there is a God or a universal creator, whatever you are comfortable with, doesn't mean that autism and mental health is necessarily the causation of the suffering, right? Just like there's food. Just because there's food around, it doesn't mean that the food is the source of the obesity. What is the source of the suffering when it comes down to, especially with mental health issues, is people not taking care of themselves and not getting care. When it comes down to food, it's people behaving in a gluttonous manner. When it comes down to autism, the gag or the drag of it all is everybody else bugs out about autism. Autistic people be happy and they don't care. They be in their own space until people want to encroach upon their security circle. People don't want to give them their 6 feet. So is it really suffering? I think it depends on perspective. I think when you are living your life and doing your best to, be happy, be sustainable, sustain yourself or whatever, it's not a suffering to you. What are your thoughts about that, T-Pre?
No, I absolutely agree with that. And that's something that I have thought of many times. It's hard to explain that to somebody who doesn't believe in God, right? Or doesn't have an understanding of spirituality in any way. It really is difficult to have that conversation, but that's true, right? There's like a balance with everything in life. You know what I mean? It's nothing that's 100% extreme. You know what I mean? Like, so even if there is a God or a most high, there's still a counterbalance to that, right? And so I do believe that, good is present and bad is also present for the sake of that balance. Do I understand the balance? No, I don't, right? I just know that I believe that it exists, at least from what I've seen, what my experiences have been. But that's all I can kind of speak to,
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly try to stay away from a lot of conversations like that because I grew up Jehovah's Witness. And so my father's still a witness now, you know what I mean? And I really don't like to debate about religion. I've had many and many debates about religion over the years, you know what I mean? And so I've learned not to debate about it because it's one of the most touchiest subjects that I think isn't necessary, really. You know what I mean? Really, when it comes down to it, because ultimately we're all still human and, none of us really know where we're going until we're there. So it just is what it is,
Exactly.
But I'm to believe where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm.
But this is the thing, right? So to what you were saying about the balance, even from a cellular structure, right? In our cells, on the smallest level, there's a proton, there's a neutron, there's an electron. But when we start looking at the bigger scope and looking into nature, there's the sun and there's the moon. You know what I'm saying? There's water, there's land, there's yin, there's yang. And people never look at these things as good and bad. They're just the opposite of one another. It's a masculine and a feminine energy. Even with God, there is the devil.
Right. Exactly. There's negative, there's positive poles, right? It's just everything has a balance. It's not anything I can explain, right? Even the fact that I can't explain it is enough to say there's a balance in everything, right? Everything is, so there's some things in life I can explain. As a matter of fact, a lot of things in life I can explain, and then there's some things I can't. And the more that you explore the world, the more you realize there's a lot in this earth you can't really explain, right? But there's that balance void for you.
Exactly. But I'm gonna let you go, T Pre, because I'm gonna answer this next question, and then we gotta head over to where we gotta head over to. But safe travels to you. Thank you for coming.
Girl.
All right.
No problem. Thanks for having me up. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, also to your question, Terrence, I put in a chat, but I can understand how that can happen, Terrence, because I had a point in life where I was questioning religion, and I never really went full atheist. I was agnostic for a while because I just really wanted to understand. I would say that was from like age 15 until about 22. But I actually have been an avid studier of world religion for the past 30 years. And truth be told, I believe that religion is a tool used to control mankind. It is very much fundamentally a separatist item. And when we really start to look at the historical context of the theological literature, we start looking at what was happening in the world at the time, that we actually should all be underneath of one banner. But that is a conversation for another time that we could have, and we could go do a really deep dive on it. When it comes to this particular woman, again, I wish her the best. This, some people will take this as mean, and that's okay if you do. This is a severe wake-up call, because at the very end of the day, the fact that you think autism is a mental illness and is comparable to the mental illness that you are having lets me know you have a disconnect going on. But I'm here to let you know that doesn't bother me. I'm just going to use it as a tool to educate people on what the differences are. But what you are not going to do is keep playing a victim and lying. And if it takes me and Seven and T-Pre and everybody else that is being that mirror so that you have a reality check so that you go and get the help that you need, then that's what it's going to be. Them trolls can keep on trolling you all they want to. I'm going to keep on being a mirror. And again, nobody could say any of these things if you were not talking about them. This is why when y'all talk about my autistic son, it doesn't hit how you think it does, because I am the one that told y'all that he has autism. We good over here. What I want a lot of you to do is to live your life like you're autistic. Stop eating Red 40. Eat clean. Go outside. Play. Roll in the grass. Put some headphones on, and then put the TV on 60, because even though the TV's on 60 and it's loud to everybody else, it's a whisper to you because you got your sound canceling headphones on. Okay, I want you to be absolutely elated because you are putting barbecue sauce on a chip, and that is your whole wave that you start doing a little dance wherever you are, honey. I want you to be absolutely ecstatic about burgers. I want you to take all the colors out of the crayon box and color all over the world, the paper, the floor, and whatever you want to do so that you find you're happy. But you're not ever going to find you're happy by making up stories on people. You're never going to find you're happy by consistently attacking people. It's just not going to happen that way. But if you want my attention, be sure that you want it. Because I have a heart. But whether you get the bright heart or the dark heart is going to depend on you. Because what a lot of people don't know is we have duality within our bodies as well. I feed both wolves. You choose if you want to be dinner or not. That being said, you all, right, it's gifted, Michael gifted. No, you're good. Like, this is one thing about me and my husband. No, Terrence, I'm not talking. Stop it. I'm not talking about you. You're good. Okay, let me say this as we get up out of here. Those of you that are new to the channel, I talk how I talk. If it's about you, you're going to know I'm very pointed. I will say your name. I will direct the commentary to you because I do not believe in opening mail that is not addressed to me. And I don't want you opening mail that is not addressed to you. Okay? Just so we have that symbiotic relationship. But it's good to have compassion. And I really do like the fact that even though you are an atheist, you still have compassion, Terrence. I respect that. You're more than welcome here. As Dre Duck, you are welcome as well. But now y'all got a wake to go to because it's not done. We're gonna keep cooking because nobody wants to go and pull a wellness check on this person and she don't want to take herself. Then it's going to be a psychological game of breaking down the fake delusion of grandeur so she can get to the reality of the truth so that she can get the help that she needs. Because I'll make you cry. And then once you cry, you will go get help. That being said, I love you all.
It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Right now, I'm going to mind my fucking business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my mind your business. 100K or more. In my pocket, I need 20K by this week. I need 100K or more. You hear me? In cash, I need 20K by this week. You talk too much, talk too much. You talk too much, talk too much. You talk too much, talk too much. You talk too much. I don't live here, I'm chilling. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Clear the way, clear the way, clear the way. You hear me? It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Right now, I'm going to mind my fucking business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my mind your business. I need 100K or more. In my pocket, I need 20K by this week. I need 100K or more. You hear me? In cash, I need 20K by this week. You talk too much, talk too much. You talk too much, talk too much. You talk too much, talk too much. You talk too much. I don't live here, I'm chilling. Sway, this my shit.
Sway, the remix god.
Please come here. Come.